Hey, my voice is gone.
Aww.
Welcome to the Kind of Sleepy Podcast. I'm your host, Raspy Knowledge. And who do I have sitting to my left?
Miss EP, the voice of reason.
The good voice of reason today.
Maybe.
Yeah, maybe.
We have to play it by ear
Oh,
moving forward.
oh,
Let's just make that the rule. We play it by
we
ear.
play it by ear? All right. So, starting off, we're going to talk about somebody that's quite unreasonable. And gosh, my voice is gone today. I didn't even do a lot of yelling this weekend. That's crazy. But, I mean, okay, so first of all, I had a really good weekend.
That's good.
Went to DC, had a good time. Got to link up with some folks who I know listen to the podcast. So shout out to Irene, shout out to Shorty, shout out to Paul, my man Paul up there, and shout out to Simone. Shout out to all of them, man. And they talked to me, kicked it with me. We had a good time. It was also the 2018 Alpha Bikers Roundup.
Mm.
So all the bros from all over the country. Had a bro hitting from Texas, guy from New York. Everybody met in DC, and did some good riding. Had a good time. Guys came in from Nashville, Detroit, South Florida, like just everywhere, and had a good time, man. So, yeah,
It's good stuff. Good stuff.
I needed that.
I know you did.
Yeah, I needed a pick me up,
I told you I thought your voice was gone because you laughed so much.
and I did do a lot of laughing. But I think part of it was because I was around cigars
Mm-hmm.
the whole weekend. Like the whole weekend, there was cigar smoke in the air. And so, I don't really smoke cigars often,
Mm-hmm.
but I mean, the cigar smoke will affect your voice. So,
Yeah.
yeah. Anyway, let's get a
You saving smoke for today?
man.
Got it. You
I don't know if I got the voice to have smoke with nobody, but I do got some smoke though.
okay?
I do want smoke with somebody. So, starting off, you said that we'll play you being the voice of reason by ear. Well, somebody who probably will never be a voice of reason at any point in time ever again, if they ever were, is Roseanne.
She never was.
She had to shut the hell up, man.
Yeah.
Roseanne just need to shut up. And I said this to somebody the other day, I said if Roseanne would just shut up, like, let's be perfectly honest, black people have very short memories. She could have gotten her job back, gotten her series back, and black folks would be watching her show again and forgetting all about this.
I mean, because to be honest, I was on board. I was on board for the new show.
See, and I couldn't be. I mean, and see, the thing is, a lot of people don't really know Roseanne's kind of, background and
Mm-hmm.
activities that she's been doing before that show got started. And I just did, like, once I heard the show was coming back, I was like, oh, that's nostalgic, but I'm not gonna watch because of how she functions and how her mindset.
Know better, you do better.
Right. And then I didn't even know that she had taken that picture dressed as Hitler with cookies that were made to look like Jews.
Mm.
So yeah, Roseanne, no.
Do you think at this point people are baiting her in, or not to try to make an excuse? Because I mean,
Here's the thing. I don't think this one was a bait. Okay, so we'll tell you guys what happened. Roseanne apparently posted this video not too long ago. It was on her YouTube page last week. She posted the video.
Mhm.
It's her own YouTube page. Nobody baited her into doing this, but there's a video showing her smoking cigarettes, looking obviously flustered and being talked to by someone off camera. And she just goes completely unhinged. She says, I'm trying to talk about Iran. I'm trying to talk about Valerie Jarrett wrote the Iran deal. That's what my tweet was about. And then she says, I thought the bitch was white. God damn it. I thought the bitch was white. Now, here's my thing. This is the biggest issue I've always had with that brand of Trump supporter. There's always an excuse, number one,
Mhm.
for why they shouldn't be held accountable for their racism and prejudice and bigotry. But also, the people who were just like, you should not discuss politics if you refuse to read about them.
True.
There is nobody on this planet who is familiar with who Valerie Jarrett actually is and what she does that didn't know that she wasn't white. Nobody. Like, you look at her and you're like, she's somewhat racially ambiguous.
Mm-hmm.
She could be confused for a tan white woman by people who don't know any better. But my thing is, and this has always been the issue, If you didn't know that lady wasn't white, that's your fault, number one.
Right.
Number two, just because you didn't know what you were saying was racist doesn't make it any less racist.
That's the justification, though.
Yeah.
I didn't know. That's not what I meant.
But it's always, I didn't know. If you don't know at this point, you're
Mhm.
stupid. Like every year when those white fraternities and sororities decide it's a good idea to dress in blackface or make
Mhm.
jokes about blackface, and then say they didn't know how offensive it was. That's the same thing I see in this.
Right. I mean, that's intentionally not knowing, choosing
Right.
to say you don't
You're
know.
being willfully obtuse,
Mhm.
intentionally ignorant. It's no, I'm not buying it. And
Yeah.
anybody that does buy it, I end up questioning their character. Like I have to, because like think about it. If you will automatically give them a pass for that, then that means you either agree or don't think the disrespect of my humanity is even an issue.
Yeah.
So
You're
now I'm
just
looking
as
at you, so
blind. Yeah.
yeah, but by choice once again,
Right.
like you said. So yeah, Roseanne had to sit down somewhere.
Bye, Roseanne.
Another person that I really wish we could vote off the island, Michael Clark, man. I mean, not Michael Clark, David Clark.
Mhm.
He's the ex sheriff who hates black people, Democrats, and anybody that doesn't like Donald Trump. He's a black guy, the one that wears the 4 stars and all the fake awards on his chest, and gets up there and says all kinds of random stuff, and would do it sometimes in his official uniform in an
Mhm.
official capacity. I'd be like, bro, that's got to be against some sort of law.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Go ahead and ship
So
him on out.
anyway, the thing is about him, uh, you know, there's a lot of stuff going on right now with Donald Trump and collusion, and
Mhm.
this idea that he was supported by the Russians. And it came out that they used some subversive tactics to gain more support for Jill Stein and Bernie Sanders so that they would take votes away from Hillary Clinton. So the thing is about this particular thing with David Clark, the reason we brought him up is because he had a 2015 trip to Russia that was paid for by a group that was founded by an alleged Russian agent.
Mm.
Yeah. So the thing is, the U.S. Department of Justice um, just charged the lady with like trying to infiltrate various organizations, including the NRA.
Mhm.
And so, like, they literally laced this dude's pockets. Like, they
Wow.
gave him the money, sent him over there. I think it was like her group, the Right to Bear Arms, paid $6,000 of his meal, hotel, and transportation expenses. Now, here's the thing. That would raise an eyebrow to me. Why is a group that's supposed to be advocating for the Second Amendment in America sending me to Russia?
Right.
How does that make sense?
You think he didn't understand?
I think that this is all an elaborate plot by people who wanted to sell our government
Mhm.
and influence and power within the government to a foreign entity for their own personal gain.
I mean, it's clear at this
That's the
point.
definition of treason.
Yeah.
The definition of it. I don't understand why they're not
I
in
think
jail
we're
yet.
we're tiptoeing around this to the point where I'm sick of it.
I'm absolutely sick of it.
Yeah.
I've been sick of it for a while. Um,
Or as the young people say, I'm sick of it.
I'm ready for Robert Mueller to just go and drop all the rest of these indictments and get these
Mhm.
people out of here, man. Because he actually last week he asked for immunity for 5 witnesses.
Mm.
So that's how they get people to roll.
Right.
And the thing is, if you ask for immunity for folks, you tend to ask like people who are actually in the know get immunity so that they can roll on somebody who's like the kingpin or the
Go
planner.
ahead and drop the dime.
You know what I'm saying? And that's what's gonna happen.
And it's easy to say I'm frustrated. Let's go ahead and do it. Let's go ahead and get it over with. But at the same time, I mean, I can appreciate taking your time to make sure it's done right because you
Right.
can't go back and redo it after you presented it.
Yeah, when people get like frustrated with how long this is taking, I tell folks all the time, like, this isn't Law and Order.
Mm-hmm.
You don't get justice in 30 minutes or less or an hour or less. You get it, as it goes. Now, personally, do I have a lot of faith in the criminal justice system in the United States? No.
Nah.
But would I love to see, in the few times that it does work, it work in this instance? Absolutely.
Oh, please.
Absolutely. Oh goodness,
Hang
man.
in there.
I'm fighting it, man. I'm fighting it. I'm hurting today. Oh man, I'm hurting.
It's gonna be
I'm
okay.
exhausted. All the energy just kind of leaked out my pants legs. I was walking in the door.
No,
It's
no,
just,
no.
I am super drained. Like I need a Red Bull and a nap at the
Okay.
same time.
At the same time.
Hey, it's possible.
Okay, I'm not. I'm
What
not.
what was that?
At the same time.
Oh my goodness! Don't be future.
I can't be.
Don't be future.
Okay.
Tony Montana.
See.
Sorry. Hey, you encouraged me. You
I'm
started
glad you got a little energy flowing.
just then
Okay.
for all 2 seconds.
Oh, okay.
So yeah. So the type of immunity that Robert Mueller is seeking is called use immunity.
Mm.
So check out the definition of this. So use immunity is a type of immunity that prevents prosecutors from using their testimony as evidence against them in a criminal case. So check this out. I can get up there, like let's say I get caught on a dope charge, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I wanna, you know, snitch on somebody, right? So I take the stand and I tell the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth, all the information and all the stuff that I know. But if I have use immunity, anything that I say in court on the record can't be held against me.
Right.
So that if I do get in trouble and get some criminal charges, whatever I said and admitted to in court that day, I'm not necessarily obligated. They can't use that to make a case against me.
Hmm.
They can only use the evidence that they gathered outside of whatever I may have said and admitted to.
Gotcha.
Now, if I admit into something and say something, that corroborates the evidence that they have on me, they can't even use that. So I
It
can
kind of
just,
dismisses that.
yeah, I can get on the stand and not admit to anything.
That kind of made me think about something though.
What's that?
Side note. So, let's just say I was brought in, and I was like, "Yo, can I get the use immunity?" Right? And then I wanted to just randomly start telling stuff that ain't got nothing to do with what we talking about.
Your deal is often contingent upon your level of cooperation.
I'm just saying. It's like 2 years ago, I did such and such, such and such. That has nothing to do with what we're actually talking about right now. But the fact that I said it out loud and it's on record, I feel like means even in the future, if something were to come up,
Well, check this out. Here's the thing.
does it cover it?
No, you're missing the point. So I can get on the stand and admit to something.
Mm-hmm.
They can't use my testimony against me.
Right.
But if I say, yeah, I killed somebody 2 years ago, and let's say they found the body, the murder weapon,
Mm-hmm.
and all this other stuff,
They
my
still
testimony,
can
yeah,
prosecute you
they can
with
prosecute
that,
it with that. So me admitting to it or not is irrelevant if they got evidence.
Okay.
So that's what that is. So when they got 5 people that they're trying to give immunity, man, it's gonna get some big fish. I mean, Paul Manafort, if I'm not mistaken, he's not the guy that brought. Yeah, I think he's the guy that they sent out to John Gotti.
Mm.
I mean, Robert Mueller. I think he's that guy. Let me see. Let's look up Robert Mueller. Let's see where Robert Mueller.
I keep thinking of a movie whenever you say his name. Or
Ferris
whenever I
Bueller.
hear it, period.
Ferris Bueller.
That must be it.
Yeah, I used to think the same thing. I would be
I
like
need to
Mueller.
disassociate it.
Mueller. It's just. So okay, so he's 73 years old.
Really?
He is 73 years old. Did not know that. Let's see. He served in the Marine Corps. He specialized in white collar crime litigation. Yeah. He oversaw the prosecution of Manuel Noriega and John Gotti
Wow.
and the Pan Am Flight 103 bombing case. So he got, think about it, man. He took down one of the biggest kingpins, drug kingpins in history.
That's crazy.
And one of the more powerful mob bosses of the modern era. Man, this dude is, I would just go on and confess if I was anybody that was in this investigation. You might as well just go on and give it up. Go on and give it up. It's over.
That may be those people that's getting the immunity.
Now, another person who I think may get immunity at this point since he's been charged, um, Michael Cohen, who was Trump's attorney,
Mm,
claims to have tapes of Donald Trump admitting to paying, I think, what is it, former Playboy model, if I'm not mistaken?
that's so foolish.
Yeah. And so the thing is, somebody was like, oh, it won't stand up in court. Well, it doesn't necessarily have to. My thing is, do you remember? I don't know, like, I vaguely remember this because I was so young at the time. But I know that during Bill Clinton's impeachment proceedings and impeachment, stuff that they were going through,
Hmm.
there were some tapes that, were between Monica Lewinsky and a lady named Linda Tripp.
Yeah, I kind of remember that. Yeah.
Yeah, when I was a kid, of course, I don't know what's on the tapes. Like, I don't know what they said. But clearly, it was enough information on those tapes for Republicans to start impeachment proceedings or use them against them in impeachment proceedings.
Well, let me ask you that. What does that have? I mean, what does that have to do with anything? Where does the connection come in at?
Well, it's not
Between, I mean, you being
necessarily.
trifling.
So, Michael Cohen is Trump's attorney, and I guess this is a way to say, hey, I've got information of him participating. I mean, technically engaging in what could be considered prostitution.
Hmm.
And he's the leader of the free world. He is the president of the United States. This is something that can be taken as a, moral turpitude type thing.
He's given us like a gazillion reasons to say
Yeah,
that.
but the thing is, verbiage and actions are two different things.
Yeah.
Now, this is like proof of that.
That was his insurance.
Michael Cohen.
Yeah, that was his insurance.
But I'm pretty sure that there's something else going on with him as far as the Russia thing too.
Yeah.
So I don't know, man. This one was making a payment to former Playboy model Karen McDougal. That's what it was. So yeah,
At least he paid her.
I mean, yeah. So and these all and I think this was part of stuff that was part of stuff that either was or wasn't. I can't tell from the article here. Whether that's stuff that they caught in the raid of his home.
Mm.
This is just could you ever like I don't think when Donald Trump got elected to the president they would see that we could have imagined exactly how much of a dumpster fire this would be.
Yeah. So he didn't release these. I mean, well, they're not released, but he didn't initiate bringing up the whole tape thing.
Mm.
They just found them.
I think so. I'm not sure. Hold on one second. I'm looking. Yeah, the recording was uncovered amidst the seizure of his attorney record. So yeah. Yeah.
Mm.
So the FBI seizes your attorney records and somebody finds this tape of you and Donald Trump, the president of the United States at this point, discussing him paying a Playboy model to shut up about the affair that they had.
But how can you use it?
Well, this is more so just for the public interest at this point.
Okay, that's what I was thinking.
'cause
You
my thing
can't do
is-
anything with
Well,
it.
yeah, I mean, I don't think that Donald Trump is the first president to cheat on his wife. I don't think he'll be the last.
Mm-mm.
Well, we know he's not the first.
Right.
I think he'll be the last. But, this is one of those things that I think Democrats are laughing about because it shows the Republicans' hypocrisy. You call yourself the party of family values and morals, and then you turn a blind eye to this guy
Hmm.
who does this. And then also the fact that, when Linda Tripp had those tapes on, President Clinton, y'all was ready to send him up the river.
Yeah.
But they gonna let this dude live though. They gonna let him cook. Like he's gonna, they not gonna say anything. Like I think that's cowardice. To not even tell the truth about what's going on. Like I think that's cowardly, completely cowardly. But
Of course it is.
that's neither here nor there. So next up, I want to give a shout out to Amelia Holden of Savannah, Georgia. Like she did something that I found absolutely hilarious. And I think that more situations like this should be handled the way she handled it. Amelia is a server at Vinnie Van Gogo's in Savannah, Georgia, and a customer decided he was gonna walk by and rub on her butt, based on the video. And Amelia wasn't having it, and she said, "Oh, I got time today."
Yes.
She grabbed old boy and basically slammed him on the ground. I can only imagine what she was saying as that happened.
Right.
Like, here's my question. Okay, so let's take this back to childhood for a second.
Oh gosh.
Okay, so you know, back as a kid, like it was a game for little boys to run and grab girls' butts,
Hmm.
and like I'm not gonna sit here and pretend like as a kid I might not have done it. I don't recall doing it, but I wasn't always, I wasn't the kid that never got in trouble. I'll just say that much. Um, Now if my child participated in such actions today, I would be like, nah, that's not cool. Don't do that. You don't touch the young ladies like that. Because that is the beginning, in
Hmm.
my opinion, of a lot of this male entitlement to female body and
Definitely
body
so.
parts, which leads to a whole bunch of other thought
Hide and
processes.
go get it.
Yeah.
All of that.
I didn't play hide and go get it.
I remember playing. Even if I didn't know I was playing hide and go get it. Even though I thought I was just playing hide and go seek.
That's
Then
what
here come the little boys come trying to hunch on you.
I've heard that from a lot of people. Like
Yeah.
I've heard that from a lot. Like I've heard that's a common thing for people when we was kids.
Hmm.
I don't know. I guess I was just different. Like I mean, I might have wanted to hunch, but I was like, I ain't finna hunch on her. She gonna beat me up.
Yeah, I was the one that did the beating
Yeah,
up.
that's what I'm saying. I like girls that could beat me up back then. I was weirdo. Don't judge me.
You still do.
Anyway, so I think that okay, so like how often do you think that happens though? How often are little girls taught to defend themselves like that though?
I think that's definitely the norm. We teach our daughters to defend themselves. We teach them, what's appropriate and inappropriate, and what's ladylike and what's not. We don't teach our young men the same thing. I
See,
think
cause
I think the only thing, I'm not gonna say the only thing. The main thing that from I can say growing up that I heard on a consistent basis was, stuff like you don't hit, girls. But
right.
there was nothing in regards to respecting them that's actually
Wow, I didn't
taught
think
to
about
young
that.
men. Like we don't teach, because if you teach a young man to respect a young lady, you don't have to tell him don't hit her because he
Right.
respects her. But we just teach them, don't hit a woman back even if she hits you or something like that, or maybe hold the door open. But
Right.
there's nothing about the actual thought of respect.
Right. Mm. I hadn't thought, and cause, well, I was raised as a little boy, so I never thought about it like that or from that perspective. But I just always wondered if little girls were taught that if a little boy, comes up and touches you a certain way or
Mhm.
grabs you a certain way, you knock the hell out of him.
I've taught my daughter the exact same thing. I remember getting to talk. I remember actually doing it. I've punched plenty of little boys growing up. till, till this day, like me and some of my friends will joke about it. Like Erica always hit the hardest. Everybody wanted to grab my booty, but they were like, "You gonna have to pay for it. 'Cause she gonna hit you. It's gonna hurt."
I don't feel right laughing at
I'm
this.
serious.
I
Like
just don't.
it's horrible.
I do not feel right
That
laughing
was
at this.
like that was the thing though. Erica hits real hard, but go grab a boot anyway. Just try to run real fast. She might catch you, but it sucks. I've had that same talk with my daughter. It's not okay. It's never okay. If somebody touches you, go in. This, I
So
mean, that's it's one thing if they do something that makes you feel a certain kind of way, like emotionally. You don't touch anybody. You don't put your hands on them. But if they touch you, hey,
all bets are off.
go in.
You knock the hell out of them.
Hmm.
And my thing is, I would never punish my daughter for defending herself like that.
Now I do have to also tell her, even though I've told her, yo, if they touch you, you have a right to defend yourself, right? But I also make her understand that if it's, somebody, even if it's a young lady, doesn't have to be a little boy, it can be a little girl, but either way, make sure you bring it to an adult's attention,
Right.
because what I don't want you to do is haul off and smack some little boy and he lay you out. That's what I don't want her to also think that just because someone does something that's wrong, that you are automatically in the right for putting your hands on them. And then when they turn around and retaliate even harder, you may be messed up. You just got to I teach her to make the right decision based off of the situation.
Sounds like you should teach her to take a punch.
Yeah, she know that too. But I'm just
And
saying.
well, here's why I say that. I don't mean that automatically somebody gonna whoop her ass for
Right?
defending herself, but I'm just saying that like the possibility is there.
Right. That's the reality that I teach her. Like, don't just think, oh, well, they did this and that was wrong, so I'm I'm entitled to,
I'm
right.
obligated to or entitled to hit
Right. I'm entitled to hit them, and then boom, you wasn't expecting to get hit back. No, expect to get hit back. I can vividly remember being younger and this little boy, we were stopping to get off the bus. And he, grabbed my butt. Hey yo, don't touch me again. I'm not playing. Don't put your hands on me. I'm not playing with you. Don't do. I read him his rights, basically.
Right.
Turn back around. I'm waiting to get off the bus. He did it again. That was it. We got into a full-blown fight on the school bus. I took my little shoes off because I had on, I couldn't really wear heels, but it was like that big block square heel that's on the back of your shoe. Ugly as shit. But yeah, took that off, ran back there. I jacked him up. I was swole, lip was swole. Now, he got the best of me. Like, that's why I can tell her that. I got him, but he's a boy at the end of the day. If you're going to rumble with a boy, you need to be prepared that at some point he may very well come back get the best of you, if he doesn't have that in him to say, okay, stop, she's a girl. So, yeah, he came back, bust my lip, whatever. Eventually they broke it up, but I gave him a run for his money. His shoes came out because, little boys didn't tie their shoes right. You just slide your shoes on. Took his shoes, I threw him out of the bus window and kicked him down the gutter when I got off the bus. Yeah, that part.
All right.
I went home with a busted lip, but he went home with no shoes. I know he got a whooping.
Let's move on down the road here. Yeah.
Trip back off memory
I
lane.
see.
But no, that's why I can tell my daughter those types of things. I'm telling her from experience. I have a deep rooted issue with women that think it's okay to hit men and then have a problem with getting hit back. Not to go down that rabbit hole, but
let's please not go down that rabbit hole.
No, I'm
it's
not
just
going
one of those
down
things.
there.
Like I tell people all the time, like if you swing on somebody, while it shouldn't have happened to begin with, you can't not expect to be swung back on.
Right.
So like my logic has always been, if I'm swinging on you, I'm fully prepared for you to swing back.
Whatever comes next.
I'm fully prepared. And when I say I'm fully prepared, that's why, I advise a lot of my female friends to take self-defense courses because it teaches you how to punch or strike someone while still protecting yourself in a certain way at the same time.
Yeah.
Now nobody is punch proof, and like Mike Tyson said, everybody got a plan until they get hit in the mouth. But the thing is, that at the very least, we live in a world where, I do believe it behooves women to just learn how to defend themselves because, let's be honest, like a lot of what y'all go through, you shouldn't go through, and a lot of dudes are trash and will hit you and take advantage of you. So it's
true.
Depressing. Let's talk about something a little bit happier. Chance the Rapper bought a Chicago news site, The Chicagoist. He bought it from I think it was a New York media company, who bought the Chicago, WNYC, acquired Gothamist, which housed Chicagoist, and they bought DNA info, and so the site was actually shut down by the owner after they bought it. And Chance the Rapper buys Chicagoist back, and he dropped a bar talking about the Chicago Sun-Times. The Chicago Sun-Times posted an article about him. They posted it was kind of a blurb, basically saying he was like a deadbeat dad. Pretty much putting him in a bad fatherhood life because of a child support issue he was dealing with. With his he's now engaged to the mother of his child. He's engaged to his daughter's mom, his sweetheart or whatever. And they was having a child support issue. And I don't think it was anything ugly, but the way the Chicago Sun-Times wrote it up apparently, rubbed Chance the wrong way. He said, I got a hit list so long, I don't know how to finish. I bought the Chicagoist just to run you racist bitches out of business. And I was like, that's heavy. That needs to happen way more often. Yep. I've said this, and part of the reason that this podcast even exists is because I believe that we need to start controlling our own narrative. I believe we need to start telling our own story because we know the news media more often than not doesn't accurately tell our stories, and a lot of times it's gotten to the point where it's infotainment and they're driving a certain agenda.
Right.
I was listening to another podcast recently. And they had a famous artist on there talking about the East Coast, West Coast beef back in the 90s with Pac and Biggie or whatever. And so it was crazy because it really wasn't a coastal beef, but that's how it was always spun by the media just because these two artists had a disagreement. And so a couple of folks just jumped into that beef just because. Like, okay, so Tupac put out Hit 'Em Up or whatever. And yeah, that was after, like, Mobb Deep had came to Biggie's defense.
Mhm.
I think Jay had sent a shot over there. I think Nori was going to send a shot. Like, it was a lot of East Coast rappers sending shots to the West Coast, and then West Coast rappers sending them back. The East Coast guys were defending Biggie, and the West Coast guys got in on it because they were just defending, their homes, their hometown,
Right.
in hip hop. And the thing is, in hip hop, you that's what you do. You put that
It's
on
territorial.
wax.
Yeah.
But the thing is, it got out of hand because people tried to make it. The media tried to make it an actual beef when it started out as just a problem between two guys who actually knew each other. And I was just like, when I was listening to it, I was like, dang, that's crazy.
Very much so. Side note,
Mm-hmm.
what set you claim?
I mean,
Everybody had to pick a side back
Yo,
in the day, man. What side did you pick?
The West Side. I was from the West Side.
Oh, okay.
I was from the West Side of Birmingham.
West side, the best side.
Yeah, that's what you said. Yeah, that's what you said. Nah, my thing is, growing up in the South, it's like, it's crazy because, like, okay, I know Little Brother and Outkast, both Big Boy and Andre, have always said, in the South, we grew up listening to everything.
Right.
Like from Miami Booty Shake to New Orleans Bounce to Atlanta Booty Shake to even house music, the house hip hop artists like in Baltimore, and then go go is a little different. We didn't really listen to much go go down here, but we did have Do in the Butt because that was such a huge record everywhere. I fell in love with go go later in life, but we listened to like Wu Tang, and we would listen to Biggie and all
We
that.
listened to anything that felt good in the South.
Right. And then
Right.
we would listen to Chicago rappers like Common. We would listen to Detroit rappers. Like, we would listen to everybody. But I think, and the thing is, Tupac was born in Baltimore. So he was born on the East Coast. And so to see him rapping West Side like that, like, Pac was one of my favorite rappers before he got locked up. And so him coming out and being on, honestly, what I consider the most powerful record label in the country at that point, Death Row, I was a fan already of Snoop. I was a fan already of Dre. Pac came, I made me a bigger fan. So that's why I chose that side because I just always liked Pac. I thought when I was like, I forgot how old I was when Brenda's Got a Baby came out, and I was just like, yo, that's crazy. Cause I remember the video premiered on FX.
Really?
The video premiered on FX because FX was a brand new station at that time. It was brand new. It was their first year, and I think the first place it premiered was on FX, if I'm not mistaken. And then it was on MTV and BET after that.
Speaking of artists that were locked up, can Shine just come out?
Shine's been deported.
That's right, he would. I
Yeah,
mean,
he got deported.
but can somebody let him put out a song?
He's been putting out material. It's just
Where?
hard to find. Well, it's not hard to find.
I mean, but can
it's just not
somebody-
as publicized. He
can
puts it out independent now.
But
He's
can somebody go ahead and give him back like the light just for like 5
Yo,
minutes? For
so-
just 5 minutes.
I'm gonna tell you, it was so, like, he just did an interview. I just heard an interview with him last year that he did over the phone. Like, he's still making music though. He's going through some transitions. If I'm not mistaken, he's a Hasidic Jew now, which is the people that you see with the hats and the curly sideburns. He, like, the last thing, like, I remember when I was listening to Lil Wayne's album, The Carter 4, and he would have those interludes.
Yes.
And when Shine came on,
Yes.
and I lost my whole natural mind right
Yes.
there. And that Shine album was really, really good. That
He
first
just
album
doesn't-
was really good.
He doesn't deserve to disappear like that. I mean, when I say disappear, I mean like out of the forefront.
Well, he's
He could come back and people still gonna ride
can't come
with him
back to America.
automatically. He doesn't have to. Just let the music come.
yeah, but I mean, it's artists that release music overseas all the time that we never hear because I hate to use this as a parallel, but I have to. It's the equivalent of white privilege.
Yeah.
It's like we don't listen to music from overseas oftentimes, not because we don't care about it, but because we feel like our existence is not tied to anybody else's existence.
True.
We only see hip hop as an American thing. And so we are oftentimes oblivious, sometimes by choice, sometimes just by circumstance, because we don't even think that hip hop exists outside of our own special bubble. Now me personally, I actually go looking for international artists and stuff like that. I'll never forget. I bought an album in the Dubai airport. Like I was in the airport in Dubai, and I just bought a CD. Like and this was like, of course I had like an iPod since then and all sorts of MP3s everywhere. But I bought an actual CD of an artist who I'd never heard of
So you
before.
just randomly picked it up and
I've
was like,
done
I'm gonna
that.
try it out.
I've done that plenty of times
Okay.
actually. Like when I was like back when CDs was really a thing. Like I did that a lot, and that's how I found Life. That's how I found out about Dwelle. Like if I see something, if the cover says something to me like, "Hey, this is your move right here. This
It
your
might
groove.
speak to you, right?
Yeah, this your groove. Get this." That's how I picked up Dwelle. Like
Okay.
I like no like Dwelle was not on the radio in Birmingham back then. He was not on the radio. It was his first album subject. Well, his first major release subject, and so I just went and bought it. Same thing with Raheem Devon. I and then I actually was friends with a lot of people and would go to these websites where they would just put out they would just announce like all these obscure and unknown groups and stuff like that who was making really good music, and so I've always looked for it like that.
Gotcha.
But yeah, I want Shine to come back too. But Chance the Rapper actually just made with him buying the Chicago store, that put him in my top 5 current rappers.
Okay, can I stir the pot for like 2 seconds?
Go for it.
Chance the Rapper
Mm-hmm.
and other similar artists. Is that who we thought that Kanye was supposed to be?
I
That's
thought
who we supported him to be.
I thought I pictured Kanye West's trajectory going the way that J. Cole's is right now.
Okay.
I always knew that he wanted the spotlight and he was way more arrogant than J. Cole is. Um, I never expected him to go this direction. Like I figured he would be producing for a lot of people. You know what? I take it back. I think that he would. I assumed and was hoping for him to be a hybrid of what J. Cole has become and what David Banner has become. You know, because he came out, he was conscious.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he's doing stuff for Talib Kweli and Mos Def, and he's he was just different. You know, so seeing how he is now, I'm just like, well, like Jay-Z said, fame is the worst drug known to man. It's stronger than heroin when you can look in the mirror like there I am and still not see what you become.
Bars.
I'm trying to tell you. It's crazy. Anyway, so Chance the Rapper is in my top 5. I'm not talking about like as far as lyricism is concerned or even like his catalog. I'm just talking about like people I like.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Most
You know,
definitely.
for the contemporary. Um, so this moves me into this next segment, and my voice is too gone to even give y'all what I really want to say, but this is gonna be so anticlimactic.
What?
I won't smoke.
No smoke, no smoke. I know you don't want it.
Feel it.
I won't smoke.
All the smoke, just some smoke. Little smoke,
All the smoke.
all the smoke. Okay.
So, basketball is not my favorite sport.
Mhm.
I like watching it, but playing it is not my favorite sport. I mean, primarily because of the fact that I'm vertically challenged, and playing basketball just was not for me, But I know that when I did try to hoop or when I did play ball, like I know that I'd taken a hard foul or two. I remember vividly one year at summer camp. I was on the summer camp basketball team, and I had a fast break, and I went up for the layup, and this dude who had to be like 3 years older than me, pretending he wasn't, and outweighed me by like 120 pounds, fouled me real hard. I mean, he fouled me, and I was slammed into the wall and hit my head. Like it was that bad.
Mm.
Like I was dizzy. Like, but I tell you what I did. Like I got up, I wanted to fight him. I was mad. I needed a break. But what I didn't do was call the police. So let's talk about hard foul Freddy over here. This dude called the police in Dulles, Virginia at LA Fitness. He was playing ball and took apparently, the dude, a black guy, he did what's called a pick. That's where you kind of block a guy from continuing to defend the guy with the ball. And some of those picks can be hard. Like, you put your shoulder into it a little bit, or you're a little bit more solid. You put your weight a little forward so that when that person comes through and doesn't see you, you know they run into a brick wall. So this dude had a hard pick, and the guy hit the ground, and he goes up to the front desk and tells the front desk person to call the police.
What's his name?
They don't have his name,
Said
but there's
LeBron?
video. And you said LeBron?
Ooh. Oh. Sorry, I
No,
didn't know.
LeBron just gonna flop and then get the call. It's gonna like ain't nobody gonna touch him. Like if you breathe on him too hard, they're gonna give him the call. But on the post that we have on our page, the article has a picture of the guy. I don't know if he's white or Middle Eastern or what. He looks.
He's fragile. That's what he is.
Yeah, that's what he is. He's fragile. You know. So are you? Could you mark your race here? You don't have fragile. Why is fragile not an option for my race? Why is punk ass Tinky Winky not an option for my ethnicity? I'd like to know immediately. Thank you. No, I imagine him talking like that too. Like I really imagine talking
Like serious as hell.
Excuse me, can you call the police? He just set a pick on me that was really hard, and I'd like to file a report. Come on, buddy. 911, okay? 911.
It's too much aggression.
Yeah. That's how the game's played. You know, he's just wrong. I mean, how do you do that?
I bet he wore like real short, like thigh shorts.
Like
Like the shorts back in like the 70s.
They righted his knee though. I will say that much. They righted his knee. But this guy Trap Money Benny, which is his Twitter name is _Togs TOGS. He had a picture of the guy talking to the police, and he kind of live tweeted the whole thing. And then somebody else, Liberian Soul, better known as King Mumu, posted a Snapchat where they actually go up to the guy and videotape him, and the guy is doing the Snapchat is laughing at him. Like, you call the police, man. I really wish Terrence Howard had been there. You just gonna call the police, man? Just gonna call the police, man?
Don't get on Terrence.
Why not, man?
You know my mom loves Terrence.
It's because he light skinned, man. And got good hair.
But that voice, you know, that little shakiness.
You just gonna call the police, man? Yeah, I'm really in my Terrence Howard bag right now. Like that's what I'm doing. That's what I'm doing now, man.
Oh, okay.
You know, I think it's kind of funny that I lose my voice and I turn to Terrence Howard. Like that.
I don't know how I feel about that.
I don't know how I feel
I'm gonna
about
need us
that.
to hurt. You need some tea?
Honey lemon, please.
A little honey lemon.
You know what I'm
With a
saying?
little shot on the side.
So the incident report classified the incident as an assault, but neither party wanted to press charges.
So why call the police?
That's exactly what I'm saying. Both men admitted that they fouled each other and agreed to keep the game civil. And then they have screenshots of the police report.
Are these 8-year-olds?
So here's the incident report. Subjects admitted that, so the disposition of the report says, subjects admitted that they fouled each other while playing basketball. Neither wanted to report after I offered. Management gave subjects one more chance to keep the game civil. If not, they will both be removed from the gym for the day. I provided management with my direct line in case there are further issues.
You know, we would have got a whooping for that when we were kids.
Right,
You go tell on somebody for nothing.
So the comments do kind of a chronological order thing. So at 1842, at 6:42, somebody called. Apparently, they got the call. The officer got the call. Said in basketball court, subject is still in gym. Black male, tall, 6'4", long sleeves and headband. Caller is desk clerk. Victim is at front desk. Rescue refused, which means he offered the guy who got fouled an ambulance, and the guy said, "No, I'm okay."
He should have been forced to go.
Yeah, I believe so too. So that's wild to me. That dude deserves donkey of the day. I'm just saying, he does.
I can't roll with donkey of the day.
Yeah, and that's why that's leading us into our next story.
Never no more. The next story for the donkey of the day.
Yeah. So last week we talked a little bit about Charlamagne's the accusations of rape that came up from 2001 on Charlamagne, and he has a podcast with this comedian Andrew Schultz. It's called Brilliant Idiots, and I've listened to the podcast multiple times because, as I said last week, Charlamagne was one of my favorite folks. He was one of my favorite, media personalities. I liked watching his evolution from a distance, because I remember when he first came out, he was all kinds of wild. Now he's a little bit more uh, intellectual in his responses to things. But no matter how intellectual you get, there are some things that I don't think are okay, and I don't think is worth joking about. Especially not the way that you're joking. One of those things is rape. And so I listened to a clip last week when I was talking, and I said that based on how he described the situation, I don't know what happened, but then there was another clip that came up from an old episode of The Brilliant Idiots where he describes having sex with a young lady who is pretty much unconscious, well, incoherent.
Mm-hmm.
And the way he explains the whole story is just, it gets really bad. I'm going to play the clip now, and then I want to talk a little bit about it before we close out the show with the last three ridiculous, two out of three of the last posts are ridiculous. So check this out. This is Charlamagne and Andrew Schultz from The Brilliant Idiots.
What's the scenario? Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. Mm-hmm. I got this girl real drunk, and I fought. Just that sentence sounds a little fishy. I got her drunk. I didn't just get her drunk. I remember going. I went to the sex store and got Spanish Fly. Oh, so you raped her? Shut up. Spanish Fly. They sell it in the sex store. I'm telling the truth. They sell it in the Spanish store. I had to fucking. They sell knives in the sex store too. You can put that to a girl's throat in the sex store. That doesn't mean it's illegal. So I put the Spanish Fly in the ENJ. We drinking the ENJ and shit. So in my mind, I don't know if this shit really worked, but I felt like I got horny as a motherfucker too. Right? So she was drunk as shit, and we had sex and shit, and like. A lot of my boys was trying to come in the room and fuck her. I'm like, nah, shit, like, I can't, I'm not doing that. And I'm like, you're on the train on it. That's rape. Yeah. Okay, so, right? So, it's just one-on-one, it ain't right. Yeah, so the next trains are rape. So the next morning she wakes up. And we talk about it. And she's like, what happened? Like, we had sex. She said, okay, well, I'm glad it was you. Then a couple days later, she's like, yo, you sure I only had sex with you? One of my stupid ass cousins was going around saying he fucked her, which he didn't. I know for a fact he didn't. Okay. I was there the whole time. Yeah. He did not fuck her. Yeah. He looked at her naked, but he didn't fuck her, right? So I'm telling her, no, me and you just had sex. Nobody else did nothing. So it just was weird that she was like, well, I'm just glad it was you. You know what I'm saying? Because in my mind, I'm like, yo, you could have been in a real bad situation if it was another motherfucker there. That's a compliment, man. A girl just said, yo, at least you raped me. I didn't rape her. I did not rape her. Hey, if it was any of your cousins or friends who have been raped, I didn't rape her because me and her had every intention of having sex with each other. So then why would you put the Spanish Fly? I'm still a freaky motherfucker, but listen, was she passed out while you fucked her? Nah, she wasn't like, she was like one of those drunks where, she was one of those drunks where she was like, she wasn't coherent, but she was up. You know when your girl is like when you're blacked out, like that, don't know what the fuck's going on type shit. Like she was awake and she was into it. She was wasted. Yeah, she was. Her eyes were not rolling in the back of her head. Nah. Okay. Was she snoring while you were? It was just weird because while we was having sex, she was. One of my homeboys used to fuck her on the regular. Mm-hmm. Like when I say the regular, that was his girl. Like he hates me probably to this day. Wait, you fucked your friend's girl? That was a piece of shit. It wasn't his girl though. It was like a girl that he used to really love. See, this is his whole story. The girl was white, right, and he was black. So this is in Moncks Corner, South Carolina. Okay.
So after listening to that clip, the first thing I noticed was that he said, yeah, she was kind of, it was the beginning of the clip where he said, yeah, she got really drunk and we fucked. Mm-hmm. So he had to catch himself from saying I and throw in we. And then another thing that got me was, when he said, she wasn't incoherent. It was just like she was blacked out. It's like, she wasn't there. Like, well, it's like when you blacked out.
I'm trying like super hard not to go like all the way in.
Go.
This ain't even like a I won't smoke. This is beyond I won't smoke, right?
Go.
Like I'm so disgusted. Like on the last show, we kind of talked about it. We talked about men checking men, right? And how you have to be aware of things, and how women have to, of course, be mindful and not put yourself in certain situations. But there's no way you can open your mouth and laugh and joke about the fact that you took away someone's ability to make that decision coherently, right? So you can't judge someone who, I don't know how well he knew this young lady, but any man that's in this similar situation, you kicking it with a female, you think she's feeling you, right? You may just be, gassed up a little bit, because she may be texting a homegirl on the side like, yo, he lame as I don't know what. But yet at the same time, she's still playing along, right, and entertaining what's going on. You can't judge how someone else feels and truly like a decision that they're going to make. He said, we were definitely going to have sex. How do you know that? Like, even if I've had situations where I've even had homeboys or even homegirls that have said, yo, yeah, I told him, XYZ, but I didn't really mean it. I was just talking crap. I've had, homeboys say, chick told me this was going to go down. That was going to go down. And by the end of the night, she was like, all right, I'll see you later. Like, she didn't really mean it, right?
Right.
But if you don't really know a female, you just hanging out, just getting to know her, you barely can tell if you say something and she may be offended by it, or you may say something to see if it's offensive, or you may try to judge her body language in response to something in regards to just regular conversation. So how can you make the judgment call to say, yeah, we were definitely going to smash that night?
Right.
So then you take her back. Y'all still chilling. She may like you, but just because she likes you really doesn't mean she was ready to sleep with you in that moment. So then you go and say, yo, I put the Spanish fly in the drink, blah, blah, blah. I kept giving her drinks, kept giving her drinks.
Now, here's the thing. If you got, he said that, he took it too.
Right. That does still make it okay.
My biggest thing is, he said it's like when you're blacked out.
Yeah.
It's like, she was there, but she wasn't all the way there. Well, if she wasn't all the way there, that means she couldn't.
That means she
consent.
did not make the decision to say, I definitely want to. And so what happened? He said, well, we talked about it the next morning. And she was like, so what happened? And then when he told her, yo, well, we slept together, she was like, well, at least it was you. That just means
that's what was scary to me.
Because at the same time, it's almost like, well, yo, it seemed like you were feeling me, so I don't feel as bad, depending on, I guess, the fact that you're still here.
Right.
Now, if she woke up the next morning and he was gone, she probably would have felt like, yo, he took advantage of me and dipped.
Right.
That would have been different.
Right. Now, and the fact that, okay, and you talked earlier about this concept that isn't really happening, is that if you teach young men to respect women, you don't have to tell them don't do this or don't do that. The lack of respect that I saw was evident in the way that he handled the situation, how he treated her. He was like, oh yeah, my cousin running around saying he smashed, but I know for a fact he didn't smash because I was there. I mean, yeah, he saw her naked, so you just left that young lady in there alone.
So you don't know what happened, to be honest.
Exactly.
If at any point in time you left, whether it was your cousin, whether it was two more dudes that said, yo, I smashed it, if you left her unattended,
He said it was there, but my thing is, so you just letting your cousin come in looking at, the woman that you just had sex with?
I've seen people do that before.
Now,
because they didn't respect it. I mean, yeah. She was just somebody you slept with and was still there.
And I'm not gonna sit here and pretend like my background is absolutely positively squeaky clean. I haven't done some trash stuff as a young person. Like, I'm not gonna sit here and play holier than thou. One thing I can say though is that I don't think I've ever treated anybody like that. I've never treated anybody like they were disposable, and that's essentially what that says to me, is that this woman is disposable.
Right. I mean, and sometimes it may just be a situation where a woman actually feels comfortable with you enough, to be that relaxed or to go ahead and do some things or whatever the case may be. She's comfortable with you. She's not comfortable with your cousin. Right. She allowed you to see her naked. She did not say, I'm okay with him and several other people seeing me naked. That's not what she said. It's trash. I mean, he talked about the fact that he slept. It was the best friend's, ex that he used to be in love with, and how, he was a jerk about it and so on. It's like, you're lame across the board, man. It sounds like you went after your boy's girl. You wasn't too sure how things was going to turn out. So you gave yourself a little extra ammo to make sure you won the game. He lame.
Bottom line.
Super lame. I can't. I'm so disgusted. That's a big thing for me. You never take away anybody's option. You always leave the option for people to make their own decision. I don't care what it is. When you lie to somebody, you took away their option to decide things on their own. When you manipulate people, when you mislead them and so on and so forth, you can't take away people's decisions. That's totally wrong.
Right. Well, speaking of decisions being taken away, that extends to taking away somebody's life. You know, and we talked about this story a couple of months. I think like a couple of weeks ago, but it was a couple of weeks ago. XXX Tentacion was murdered a couple of weeks ago in Broward County. The grand jury in Broward County, Florida, have indicted 4 men on charges from first degree murder, and armed robbery with a firearm in Tentacion's death. 2 of the suspects are in custody, and 2 are, I guess, on the run. They remain at large. They've been indicted, but they remain at large. The way that they were found was apparently, according to a couple of sources, I think the internet actually had a lot to do with it. They were tracking like the guy's social media, and they matched the flip flops and the activities and stuff like that. And they targeted the guy. They targeted XXX Tentacion because they said he had $50,000 in a Louis Vuitton bag that was with him as he was shopping for motorcycles. And so they ran up on him to rob him of that bag. And I guess he put up a fight, and they shot him and took the bag. So those 4 guys have been indicted. Justice. Now, the thing is, I'm not happy about this.
Right. Like I can't really celebrate.
I can't be happy about this because that's 5 lives ruined. And these kids are all in their 20s. Tentacion was 20 years old, and he was murdered. The 2 guys that have been arrested are confirmed to be 22. And I mean, these are young black men. Like, I'm looking at their pictures. I mean, one of these guys looks like a baby to me.
So it was 4 guys.
It was 4 guys,
and it was allegedly $50K in the bag.
Yeah. So you just
gonna
lost
split the $50K.
$12,500 a piece. You just threw your whole life away for 12 racks.
I mean, yeah, you probably could have ate good for a little while. You could have paid some bills up for your mama. But I mean, really?
You gonna throw your whole life away for 12 racks? But think about how little you value your own life at that point. Then.
Yeah.
That's yeah. I mean, sad story all the way around. So we've talked about this guy one time or two on this podcast. Tekashi 6ix9ine. He has he's apparently been pistol whipped, kidnapped, and sent to the hospital. So the original story says that he was working on a music video in Brooklyn early Sunday, and he drove home. He said when he got there, the original story was that when he got there, another car pulled up and blocked his driveway. 3 guys in hoodies got out of the car with guns and pistol whipped him until he went unconscious. It said when he woke up, he was in the backseat of the car, and they were driving around telling him that if they didn't get what they wanted, they'd kill him. So they took him back to his house where his child, his daughter, and his child's mother were in the house. They went in the house and took $750K in jewelry and somewhere between $15 and $20K in cash. They drove away, and some kind of way or another, they got to tussling. Tekashi 6ix9ine jumps out of the car while it's moving. One of the guys chases him, but then turns back around because he was afraid he'd be identified, according to the first story that TMZ got. He jumped into the passenger side of a stranger's car. Stranger called 911, and an ambulance picked him up at a nearby street corner. Now, here's the story that got told to the cops. So they interviewed Tekashi, and he said at around 4:25 a.m. Sunday, he was a passenger in a Chevy Tahoe sitting at a red light when a car bumped them from behind. 2 men with guns jumped out, stole the driver's iPhone, and then grabbed Tekashi and dragged him into the car and sped away. They said they drove to Tekashi's house, and he called somebody inside, presumably his baby mom's, and asked her to come down with the jewelry, which she did. Tekashi then told the cops he managed to escape and report the incident to them, and then he checked himself into the hospital. Nobody really knows how he's injured. This is trash.
What do you think is the basis for the difference in the stories?
I think that it's an insurance scam.
Mm-hmm.
Personally, I think that he set this up because the stories are way too convenient, and the picture that they have on TMZ looks like a selfie.
But wasn't
And
he
I see he has a black eye, like he has a obvious like hematoma on his left eye, like a bruise on his left eye. But I would he could have got that falling down the stairs.
all right, wasn't he just beefing with somebody though?
He
I mean, I
beefing
know
with
he
everybody.
always is, but
Yeah.
wasn't it like recently something?
Yeah, I mean he said something sideways about Jay Prince, and Jay Prince said, when you go campaigning, eventually you're gonna get elected. And see, Tekashi was campaigning that. I mean, what you is campaigning for? He campaigning. So I think that he set this up as an insurance scam, number one. And number two, it gives you a little bit of street cred, so to speak, when you have an incident like this and you can play
And you
hard and
made
get
it out.
away. Yeah.
Right.
Like it's funny. What did Jay-Z say? I'm afraid for the future. Yeah, I respect the one who got shot. I respect the shooter.
Mm-hmm.
It's a difference in generations. So, if something really did happen to him, I hope he gets well soon, I guess, so he can go campaigning again. The last story that we're going to talk about, I saved this one for last because it brings me great joy to laugh at this.
Oh gosh.
Lauryn Hill.
No, man.
She had
No.
a Toronto tour stop on Wednesday. Showed up 2 hours late
I can't laugh.
and then
This
performed
ain't
for
right.
45 minutes.
Okay, so we
She rushed through the 10 tracks that she put out and then rushed through her rendition of Nice for What.
that's exactly what she means too.
Yeah, exactly.
She mean it when she say it.
Nice for What. Man.
Okay, so
Friends Don't Let Friends by Lauryn Hill Tickets.
I don't know if you can remember, but Lauryn Hill was coming to Charlotte. I was bugging about it for like 2 seconds, and you was like, yo, you want to go see Lauryn Hill? And I was like, oh, no. Because I don't think the Lauryn Hill I'm expecting is the Lauryn Hill I'm going to
Friends
get.
Don't Let Friends by Lauryn Hill Tickets. That's just how I
You
feel.
got to be realistic about this, man. Y'all got to stop. Cut off the oxygen supply, right? Turn it off.
Right.
Like we trying to hang
She's
on
done.
to something that's not there anymore. Just if you got the CD, I still got the CD. I still play it. It's scratched up. I still got my CD. Hey, you can download it. If you need your Lauryn Hill fix, go back to the old album. But you're not gonna get it with current day Lauryn. It's not happening.
No. Lauryn Hill is done.
Jasmine Sullivan, she'll even give you a little pinch, and it'll satisfy your old Lauryn Hill bug that you got. Because I listen to Jasmine sometimes, and
Right.
she does it for me. But yeah, that.
Right. I mean, I don't play like so. One of the commenters on the Facebook page said her album is always on time. She is not. Play with the album, not your money.
Right.
Shout out to Danielle for that one. That was a word right there.
That was a word.
That was in Nicolations 2:15.
Yep.
So shout out to Danielle for that one. That was
I'm
fire.
still disappointed though. It's sad. It hurts to let it go, but you gotta let it go.
Then somebody else said, "This is exactly why I'm not interested in seeing her live. I've never been a gambler. Crazy thing is, she would rock a show if she could get herself together.
She doesn't care to.
She doesn't want
But I
to.
feel like
Shout out to you, Vitra, for that one.
At this moment, she's kind of like on a raft, floating out
Of
from
shit,
the
yeah.
island. No, like she not completely gone. We hadn't let her go yet, but do we cut the rope and let her
Yes.
go? We gonna let her go?
I've been cut the rope, man. Like I told y'all
'Cause even
before.
though she was off the island,
Damn,
she was
man,
still
Lauryn Hill
attached.
think we stupid. And I'm tired of her insulting my intelligence. She think we stupid. Ain't nobody stupid, Lauren.
Yeah.
Anyway, well, that's going to do it for us here at the Country Podcast, man. Appreciate y'all coming on and putting up with my almost gone voice. Thank you, Miss EP, for being the voice of reason today.
You're welcome. I'm glad you've hung in there. It's
Thank
been
you.
a struggle.
Yeah, I'm struggling bad. You got anything you want to tell the people?
There's actually been a lot on my mind lately, but I always, end on this note of this protect your peace thing. But not only that, check on people you know. I'm not even going to say check on your friends, but it just takes 2 seconds, just to check in. Hey, you good? How's everything going? Like, you never really know how much that can really change something for somebody, just to feel like someone cared enough to just ask them how they are. So reach out to somebody at some point throughout the week and just check on them. Do it for a couple people, whether you talk to somebody often or every blue moon. Check on people from time to time. A lot of people go through stuff that you would never even know about. They internalize it. You're not aware of it, but just your words of concern
Right.
on their well-being can make a difference in somebody's life.
Absolutely. That's gonna do it for us. Thank you guys for checking us out. Peace.
Peace.